Innovative strategies while maintaining proven practices.
Dedicated.
Serving with integrity and professionalism. Elgin became an incorporated city in 1854 and installed its first police marshal, George W. Renwick. Over the years, the title of the head law enforcement officer changed from marshal to chief. And although the role has expanded, one duty has remained consistent: to ensure law and order for the citizens of Elgin.
It's time now for Fridays with the Finest, featuring Elgin's current police chief, Anna Lalley, on Elgin's hometown radio station since 1949, WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, don't sing that.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Chief Lalley. Happy birthday to you.
You're not on the air, are you?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome to a Friday show. The birthday chief checks in, and she thinks because it's her birthday, she can just strut in here at the last second.
I know. I'm busy. I got
the latest you've ever been here, I think, for your show.
I was just meeting with some officers and then just, lots of stuff going on. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome to a Friday here at WRMN AM 1410, WRMN Radio on YouTube. And your comments are always welcome on the show.
Yep.
Especially today, because it looks like she's flying solo.
I am. Yes.
On her birthday. 505-926-1410 is the Image 360 information line. 505-926-1410. YouTube, of course, WRMN Radio on YouTube, and our regular old phones are 847-931-1410. So how are things, Chief?
Good. Very busy. I figured, sometimes I bring guests on, sometimes I don't. So there's some, obviously a lot of things that have been going on. I want to talk about some of the things, talk a little bit about our gunfire incidents, and then, if anybody wants to call in too as well. So
okay, sure.
So let me start off with just some things here of what's been happening and some events and some other things.
By the way, thanks for all your help last Saturday.
Oh, yeah. It's been a week already. God, time goes quickly. Yes, that was a great event. Thank you again for hosting it. The weather was great. I thought it was better than last year.
I know, even though it was 3 weeks earlier than last.
I know, but it was better. Last year was too hot.
Yeah.
So, no, but thank you again for everything and all the time and effort that you put in, all your partners, to really take the time to show your appreciation to first responders. Because you don't have to do it. I mean, no one is telling you to do this, right? You truly do it because you want to do it.
Right.
So that I think is, I think that's even better. So are you like done now? You're relaxing?
Well, there's a lot of things still to do, like on the back end of this, but yes, I haven't felt the pressure this week.
Yeah.
That's been a nice non-pressure feeling
to
go into every day with. And because the last few weeks, it's been like, by the end of the day, I have to get this done, have to get this done. And even though you should probably feel that way every day about your regular life, it's not quite the same pressure now that that's over with. So
what's your next big thing you're planning here?
I don't know yet.
Yep.
I'm not sure yet, yeah. But no, thanks. And a couple of our Elgin Police Department officers got into the dunk tank.
Heather got in.
Commander Lencioni.
She did.
She seemed like she didn't really want to do it. Like when I was asking her if when she volunteered to do it, it seemed like she was only doing it because we really needed her to do it. But I actually think she enjoyed it.
She did.
She had a happy smile on her face the whole time.
Yeah, that's how she is. I mean, that's how she is. She was in when I got there. She had just gotten out of the dunk tank, and which I wasn't gonna. It was cold too, so I wasn't gonna purposely have her go in the water. It was too cold. So, but she did have a wetsuit on though, so it was a little bit better.
She's prepared, I guess.
Yeah, she did. How many other people went in after that?
We had about 7 or 8, I think, different people go in.
Did Hector go in?
I think he did.
Okay.
He did. I missed that part, though.
Yeah, I missed it.
But I talked to him afterwards, and he said he did. Yeah.
So did Alton go in?
I don't remember seeing Alton, so maybe he didn't end up doing it.
Okay.
But I got to say, I threw one ball.
At who?
Senator Dan Ugasti. And I stood about where you should stand, or even further back. Pegged him with the first shot.
Were you proud of yourself?
I was. First throw, bam, right in the middle of it.
Yeah. Well, hey, good aim, right?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Maybe you even aim better, depending, right? I don't know.
Well, we have an early phone call for you.
Sure.
I think it's somebody you know.
Okay.
It's 847-931-1410.
That could be a problem, but okay.
I think it might be one of our commanders calling in. Good morning. Welcome to Fridays with the Finest.
Yeah, hi. How you doing? My name's Mike Tuman.
Oh, sorry, Mike. It's not who I thought. Hey, Mike. How you doing?
Sorry, maybe. I just want to call in, say hello to the chief and everything.
Hi.
And I got your email from you, Mark, and I want to call in and let everyone know that I'm going to be taking over for Bill, who had the noon to 1 o'clock slot.
Right.
He had Four Corners Radio, and I'm going to be doing Chief Guard of the Republic.
Right.
So I thought calling in with the chief there, have a little talk about. I'm a retired Chicago detective. I did 27 years.
Oh, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for yours.
Thank you.
And also 38 years in the Army Reserve and the Guard.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Yeah. So you're going to be on Saturdays from noon until 1.
Yes.
So you know what? We're going to have a little extra time this afternoon on the afternoon show because Tammy's not going to be here. So maybe you and I should talk on that show for a few minutes about what your show is going to be about.
Okay. When would you like me to call back?
Maybe in the 2 o'clock hour today? Like 2:15?
2 o'clock would be fine.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you then.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to meeting the chief.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. So new show starting tomorrow. And he just wanted, and the fact that he was a law enforcement officer, I guess he connected with you there, Chief.
Yeah.
So.
Thanks for calling.
Yes, sir.
So, yes, thank you again for what you did. It was a great event and really appreciate the time that you spent. So, every year it gets better and better. Next year, put the dunk tank, though, in the sun.
In the sun.
Yes.
Yeah, I did have a few comments about that.
Yeah, that's what I heard. This is a dunk tank is in the sun.
I didn't know how crowded or lack of a crowd we were going to have at the front of that grass there. So I thought pushing it back towards the back was a good idea, but you're right. It was in the shade all day long.
Somebody's always going to have some, some feedback. We call it feedback.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Feedback.
It's called feedback.
Like in years past, the sound system has not been good enough.
It was good.
This year, I got feedback that it was maybe too good. So there you go. Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was nice and loud.
Wait, that was too loud?
But what I'm saying is you're always going to get feedback.
It's called feedback.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it at that.
What else is happening?
All right. So first I want to, on Wednesday at the city council meeting, myself and members of our recruiting team received an award from retired Sergeant Joanne Armenta from the Illinois State Police. So her, along with Chief Marisol Gamboa, who is the chief of Eastern Illinois University, they're part of an organization, Women Police of Color, along with Latinos in law enforcement. So they presented us with an award for our recruiting video. So that it was not our first video that we did about 3 years ago. It was our second one. And so we received an award for the best recruiting video in the state of Illinois. So I want to say thank you to them for honoring us. Thank you to all the members of our recruiting team, specifically Commander Lencioni, Sergeant Marcy Kogan, and Sergeant Jamie Marabellis, who run our recruiting team, all the members of the recruiting team, and all the members of the department. So I think it's, when we take those, few moments just to highlight some of the good things that are happening in the department, I wanted to mention that. So thank you, everyone at EPD. I also want to mention, too, just some, the 9/11 ceremony that was on, was it Tuesday or Wednesday?
Wednesday. It was Wednesday, yeah.
So, myself and Chief Sagan, Mark Smith, the mayor, we were at that ceremony. And, I will say, we don't, I think as the years go on, less and less people attend the ceremonies. And that's kind of disheartening. I think, but on the flip side, too, if you think about 23 years ago, there's a whole generation of people who don't even know what that is.
No, we're not even born.
Who are not even born.
Yeah.
So,
adults now who are not even born.
Yeah. And I think it's important, though, that we continue to remember and honor the victims and their families, because for them, this is something that they don't forget. They have to live with it. There are people who are still living with 9/11 related illnesses. So I wanted to just mention that. And, the city puts on a great event. I'm glad that they do that. I'm glad that they continue to do that this community does still continue to remember and honor. And I think even if you have one person in the audience, or if you have even zero, you still do it.
Yeah.
Right? It means something, and it means something and also to pass that on to future generations, so that, people know what happened. I mean,
Right.
that event, drastically changed. If you think about airport security, I was talking with some of my students, and they're not born. They have no idea what I'm talking. So I'm like, talk to your parents. Your parents will kind of tell you and remember where they were when it happened. But if you think about it, you could go to the airport and literally just go to the gate.
Yeah.
Right now, think about right now.
Takes forever. You get
It takes
mad.
forever. You get this. Yeah, right. So, these safeguards that were put in place, whether that was legislation that was passed or things that, that drastically changed how we operate, I think it's always important that we remember the history of where that came from. So
maybe it's time for, in the future years, as these ceremonies continue, for it needs to be emphasized that parents, grandparents should bring their kids
that's a good point.
to the ceremonies. Of course, they're in school. Maybe schools should somehow be involved.
I mean, I don't know what the schools do. I mean, I could tell you, though, it just, to me, especially I was a young police officer when it happened. I think I had 5 years on at the time. And, you don't really understand or comprehend until, you realize even, something that happened and the sense in the community and people are scared and what are we going to do and how are we going to do it? And, and then being able to provide some comfort and reassurance and being able to protect people. And so, I think that can't go unnoticed. It can't go, not being talked about, not having ceremonies. It's important. It's important that people understand, right? Mm-hmm. And it's also important that people understand so that hopefully, that we learn from it, right? And we learn and we make adjustments, whether it's in the law enforcement community or communities themselves. So I just wanted to acknowledge that the city did a great job. The fire department, they are the ones that do that ceremony. And I want to say thank you to them.
They did it on their Facebook page, and we carried it right here on WRMN. So even though maybe there weren't a lot of people in the Hemmons that morning, there were more people that saw the ceremony
That's good.
than
and
it
I'm
seemed.
glad to hear it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember years ago, the 9/11 ceremonies, it was usually outside too. So they've recently moved it into the Hemmons, and it seemed like more people attended. But anyway, so thank you to the fire department, City of Elgin, for doing that ceremony, which is something that was really important. The next thing is our second annual Domestic Violence Awareness Walk is coming up on October 5th at 10 a.m. So I will have Joanne and her ladies in here, I think October 4th. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we do a lot of events. She will be here talking about, our stats, resources. And last year was the first year that they did this walk. And it was great. So we started right behind City Hall, in between the Hemmons. And then we walked down probably about a mile and then came back. So tons of people showed up last year for the first event. So I imagine this year is going to be even bigger. So we'll continue. It's out on our Facebook. The post is out, and we'll continue to talk about that as well.
When she comes in, and we're going to talk about some stats, I guess, because it seems to me, and I don't know if it is true or not, or if you know if it's true or not, but since COVID, and this is just a generalization based on me guessing, that the cases of domestic violence have gone up. Like, domestic violence has gotten worse in the last 5 years. Is that a true statement?
I will say, when I talked to her last, I think, I don't want to give the wrong number. Wait, let me get the right number. But anecdotally, I would say it has increased slightly. But I think, to your point, when she gets here, we'll talk specific numbers. But I will tell you, there are a lot of people that receive services in terms of counseling, mental health services, and sometimes, it definitely has increased since COVID. So that I will tell you. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's just, I think COVID in itself, as you know, I mean, people are in isolation. They don't know how to communicate with people. There's a lot of other things in play in terms of, like, if you haven't communicated with people and haven't been around people, and all of a sudden you have to come out. Yeah. Now every little thing aggravates you because, I think people's temperament in terms of patience is greatly reduced over the past couple of years. And I don't know, you also have, kids that were in high school that they missed a whole year of school, right? So those formative years of learning how to, conflict mediation and how to talk to someone if we agree to disagree. And, so I think, I'm sure there's some nexus there. I'm not a research analyst, but I'm sure there's something there anecdotally.
Well, I mean, it seems like kind of what you're saying is like if you became more isolated because you had to during COVID, one thing maybe you got less of was structure. Yeah. You got less discipline, maybe. Then you had to suddenly return to those things: structure, discipline, and things that everybody should have in their life. But maybe at a formulative age, when you don't have that at the crucial times of your life, you reject it when you actually have to face it more. I mean,
that's a good point, right? Like, so if you're not used to structure, guidance, rules. Right, and then all of a sudden here they come. I guess it could be a little disruptive. Yeah,
that's our counseling session today for you.
Thank you. Yeah, you did it for the people. Good for you. So Joanne will be here October 4th, and we'll talk a lot about domestic violence awareness, and we'll make sure that we get that information out to the community. The last thing before I talk about our shots fired incidents. So we just have a new comfort talking about therapy and therapy dog. We do have a new therapy dog. Her name is Charm. So Charm will be the partner to Chance. So we did a post the other day, and I think, the posts with the canines or the dog always get a lot of likes. Right? Yeah. People love dogs. Yeah. So I'm going to probably ask Detective Arnold to bring her in. I'm not sure when, but definitely, she was out at the first at the fest, right? America's First Responders Fest. She was. Did you meet her?
No.
Did you see her?
I don't think I did.
Okay. No. She had a crowd around her. So when I got there, it was. I think he was there before me, Craig, with Chance and Charm. And then Sergeant Tamir was walking Charm, and then he had Chance. But
Charm's a lot smaller than Chance, right?
Like tiny, like this, very tiny. So
Charm's a lot more transportable and things like that.
Yes, for now. Yeah.
Yeah. She's gonna be big too.
Yeah, she'll probably be like Chance, as I'm guessing. So eventually, she's got to go through some obedience training, or very similar training that Chance did, and then you will start to see her out and about in the community. So, and I will tell you, Chance, I think when we looked at the stats, over 400 community events, going to schools, people literally just come into the police department just to go and hang out with him. Yeah. So, it's done a lot of good for the community. I think when we first introduced the therapy dog, which was 3 years ago, and that was Commander Eric Echeverria at the time, now Chief Echeverria in Peoria. That was his, that was his baby. That was his project. He did an exceptional job. And now, we're just moving forward and enhancing it and adding to it. So really good stuff.
Well, and Chance is a comfort dog.
Yes.
That's been over 400 events.
400 events, yeah.
So the stress has to be getting to Chance a little bit. He needs a break. And you don't want your comfort dog to have stress.
To be uncomfortable. And I talked to Detective Arnold about that, and that is actually true. Like, think about how many people, are around petting. It's, wanting to give attention. I mean, dogs like attention up to a point, right? Then at some point they're like, I gotta go to bed. Leave me alone, right? Like, it's like humans sometimes.
So Chance needed some help.
Yep, needs some help. Yeah. So it will obviously, it's a force multiplier. We could have Chance in the station or Charm in the station, and the other one could be out and about in the community. But I will tell you, when you see them, especially with little kids, there's some magic happening there, and I think that's like some of the kids may never approach a police officer, absent the dog.
Yeah.
So think about that, right? Like, think about the connections that we make with the community and the, hopefully long-term relationships that we make, and it's all facilitated by a dog.
Right.
So
it's great. I know we want to do some shots fired information, but I have a couple comments on YouTube from Commander Lencioni.
Okay.
She said, "Happy birthday, Chief. I came prepared last week in the wetsuit. There are lots of 8 to 10-year-olds out there with spot-on precision."
Oh, yeah. She's a trooper. I don't. Thank you, Heather, for the birthday wish. And She's awesome. You know, I told her, I'm like, he got you to do it. Mark got you to do it. She's like, yeah. I'm like, better you than me, because I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So
the water
she's
wasn't
a
the
trooper.
problem. It was the part, it was sitting up in the shade when it was chilly.
Yes.
Getting in the water wasn't too bad, I hear, from a temperature standpoint.
It was like warm, right? Yeah, compared to what was going on.
Wonderful Wilma says, hi, Chief Anna, and happy birthday.
Thank you, Wilma.
And so
Appreciate
does
it.
Hector, too. He says, happy birthday, Chief Anna.
Thank you, Hector. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about shots fired, gunfire incidents. So I want to be able to kind of just give some information here. So let me start off with year-to-date where we're at. So year-to-date, we were at 49 incidents of shots fired. And so to keep, to give the last year, we were at 38 incidents. We are at an increase here.
Yeah, starting to separate itself a little bit.
So let me talk a little bit about some historical data, and also first let me explain of those 49 incidents what's been happening. So the shots fired incidents, and again, I say this every Friday. I might repeat myself, but it's important that people have the right information. Our shots fired incidents encompass everything. So homicides where there's shots, firearm is used, incidents where property is struck, incidents where a person is struck, or it could be we recover shell casings, we recover some type of evidence. And in some instances, it's also where we do not recover any evidence, no one is struck, but we have some type of evidence to support that a shot had been fired. So, for example, it's on a Ring doorbell camera where you see someone driving by and shooting a firearm, but we don't recover the evidence. We still count those incidents. Okay, if with certainty we can say that that's a firearm. So that's all our incidents. So 49 for the year. Of those 49 incidents to date, there have been 13 arrests made. So including the most recent incident that happened on September 9th at 5:20 in the afternoon. That was in the 400 block of Addison. There was a dispute with shots fired. The preliminary investigation, we recovered an airsoft gun, and a firearm was also recovered. Our detectives go out there. They recover an additional firearm. And then a subject was arrested subsequently for that incident. So of the 49 incidents, 13 have arrests made. And I think it's important to say that, too. So some of these incidents we will make arrests on, and we have made arrests on. Some of them, we have 11 right now that are under investigation. So under investigation means that detectives are still actively working. There might be witnesses they're talking to. There might be video surveillance they're reviewing. They might have some leads, or they're waiting for some type of forensic evidence to come back. So 11 are still under investigation, and then 22 of those incidents are unsolved. So when we say that they're unsolved, we've exhausted all investigative means. So unless someone comes forward, unless a new piece of information or evidence, those cases will remain unsolved. And generally, those are the ones where it's 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Somebody hears a shot, we show up, and there's a casing. There's no video, there's no people, there's no evidence. So all this information is also located on our transparency site. So arrests, under investigation, unsolved, all that's there. Year to date, we've recovered 55 firearms recovered year to date. That information is also on our transparency site. So the first question, what are we doing about it? So as I've mentioned, and I'll continue to mention it too, we do several things. First and foremost, the officers are very aware of what's happening. We have a group of officers that meet. It's our violent crime group. We focus on shots fired, figuring out, are there links between these cases? What investigative steps can we take? We partner with our federal law enforcement agencies. I have an officer in the ATF task force. I have officers that work routinely. We've made some arrests with the ATF, so we're constantly trying to say, how can we solve some of these cases? So there's the proactive, doing directed patrols that officers do. There's the reactive, where we're doing the investigations. We talk about it in the community. We're very well aware of it. Some of these incidents are people who know each other. We've had 2 incidents of those 49. We have closed them. They've been murder-suicides. So 2 of those 49, those are considered closed. The one that happened, I think, on the 100 block of State Street, and the other one we had on Raymond Street.
Yeah.
So those two murders, those are 2 of those 49 numbers as well. So it's important that the community know the number. The number is a number, but that when you start diving into what is happening and what's going on, this is some of the stuff that has happened. So we continue to work on it as a priority for the department and for the community. It is absolutely unacceptable. I say it every year. I'd like to have 0 shots fired. Every year I say it. The first show that I do, of the year, depends what happened on New Year's Eve, right?
Yeah.
To put also in perspective in terms of, what does this look like historically? So I will go back. So it's 2024. I'll go back to 2014. So I'll give us a little 10-year snippet here.
Okay.
So in 2014, we had 44 shots fired incidents. 2015, 58. 2016 was 64. 2017, 28. So between 2016 and 2017, you see that drastic decline.
Yeah.
2018, 34. 2019 was one of our lowest years with 31. And then all of a sudden in 2020, we jumped to 63. So remember when we talked a little bit about COVID, right? And I remember being on the show during that time and talking about the national spike in firearms cases, which was experienced around, the country. So 2020, to go from 31 in 2019 to 63.
Double.
Yes, in 2020, something's happening there. There's something going on in 2020. When we look back, we say, well, is that the pandemic? Is that kind of some of the stuff we were talking about earlier? 2021, we had 66. So in the past 10 years, our highest points was 2016 was 64, and 2021 was 66.
Yeah.
Then 2020, we had 58. Then 2023, we had 52. So we kind of started to see a downward trend. And then year to date, we're at 49. So we have a couple more months left here in the year. I don't know where we're going to end up. I hope that we are going to end up at 49 because, once again, it's absolutely unacceptable. And I want to stress to the community, too, all this information is on our transparency site. I talk about it almost every Friday unless I have a guest here. I want the community to know that the officers are doing everything possible, partnering with federal agencies, talking about it, doing directed patrols, recovering firearms, making arrests. And we, rely on the community to give us help, too, and assistance, and they're great. They call in the shots fired. They give information. But there is also an element of these cases where people are not going to talk. And if that's tied to some type of gang activity, they may be very hesitant to come forward. And there's a variety of reasons why people do that. Fear of retaliation.
Right.
They don't want they don't want to get involved. So that's where we're at. I want to make sure that everyone has the right information. You can find all this on our transparency site. I will continue to talk about it. And then, we'll see how the rest of the year goes.
Okay. Let's shut it down right now and finish at 49. Let's shut it down. It's over. No more of this.
I would like that.
Yeah.
I think the community would like that. And I think that, the other thing, too, is just making sure that it's very, very important that people have the right information and that they know what's going on, and they know also not just the number, but what's behind it. What kind of cases are these? Knowing, that 2 of them are a murder-suicide, 13 arrests have been made. Some of them are unsolved. Some of them will remain unsolved, but we can always use the community's assistance. So I'll be back, obviously, talking about this and other things. I hope everyone has a great weekend. It's also a lot of events going on in the city tonight, tomorrow. I will be at the parade tomorrow morning with Sergeant Hector Gutierrez, leading the parade with him. So I want everyone to have a safe weekend, be safe, be respectful, and everybody have a chance to enjoy the weekend.
All right, Chief. Thanks for taking the time
Thank
to come
you,
in
guys.
today.
Thank you.
And happy birthday.
Thank you.
Take care. All right, Chief Anna Lalley, and Fridays with the Finest, the latest report on what's happening here in Elgin in several different areas. Coming up, Steve Thorne in the Senior Community Spotlight Show. So keep it right here as Friday continues on WRMN.